The first thing I noticed was the silence. Not the peaceful kind you expect from cemeteries. The respectful hush with birds and wind through trees. This silence felt unfinished, like something had paused mid-breath and never resumed. The sign at the rusted iron gate read, Hollow Grounds, EST, 1891. Below it, scratched in newer lettering, someone had added, Check the names. I almost didn't. Inside, rows of gravestones stretched farther than they should have. Too many for such a small town. The stones were old but not decayed. Clean, upright, cared for. Fresh flowers sat on some of them. Fresh candles, still half melted on others. That's when I saw the first name. Daniel Okafor, born 1994. No date of death, just blank. I laughed nervously. Probably a memorial, a placeholder, some weird art installation or cultural thing I didn't understand. Then I kept walking. Amara Lewis, born 2001 Tundabello, born 1987 Grace Holloway, born 1979. Every stone was the same, a name, a birth year, no death date. And then it hit me. These weren't historical names, they were current, normal, names you'd see on Instagram bios, names that belonged to people who should be very much alive. I pulled out my phone and searched the first one. Daniel Okafor. 3 results popped up immediately. A fitness coach in Lagos, a wedding photo from last year, a tagged post from 2 hours ago. My stomach tightened. I tapped the profile. Alive, smiling, breathing, standing on a beach. Behind me, something crunched. Footsteps. I turned too fast and nearly dropped my phone. An old man stood a few meters away, leaning on a shovel. His clothes were dark, dirt-stained, and damp like he'd just crawled out of the ground itself. His eyes were sharp, too sharp. "You're not supposed to be here yet," he said. "Yet." "I'm just visiting," I replied. He nodded slowly. "They all say that." I gestured at the graves. "Why are these empty?" "They're not empty," he said. "They're waiting." A cold wave crawled up my spine. "Waiting for what?" He smiled. "For their owners to catch up." I backed away. "These people are alive." "Yes," he agreed. "That's how it starts." I pointed to another stone nearby. My name. Perfectly carved. Correct spelling. Correct birth year. The world tilted. "No," I whispered. "That's not possible." The old man stepped closer. I noticed something wrong with his shadow. It lagged behind him, moving half a second too late. "You ever felt like something's been following you?" he asked. "Like time's been ahead of you by just a step?" I couldn't speak. He continued almost kindly. "Everyone buried here has had close calls, accidents that almost happened, illnesses that should have killed them, moments where death reached out and missed by inches." My phone buzzed, a notification, missed call, no caller ID, then another, and another. The old man glanced at my screen and sighed. "Ah, it's learning you noticed." "What is it?" "The ledger," he said, tapping the ground with his shovel. "This cemetery isn't for the dead. It's for the scheduled." I stared at my grave. The soil beneath it looked disturbed, loose, recently turned. "Can I leave?" I asked. He shook his head. "You already did." The air changed. The silence broke, not with sound, but with absence. Like the world had deleted something important. My phone screen went black. Then it turned back on. My lock screen photo was gone, replaced by a picture of my gravestone. Fresh dirt, and a new line of text slowly carving itself beneath my name. Died. The old man stepped back, gripping his shovel. "You still have time," he said, "but once the date appears, we don't miss twice." The soil beneath my feet shifted. Something below me knocked. Once, twice, 3 times, calling from inside a grave that already knew my name. The knocking stopped. That was worse. Silence returned, thicker than before, like the ground itself was listening. I stood frozen over my grave, afraid that if I moved, the soil would give way and swallow me whole. The old man exhaled slowly. "It knows you're aware now." "What is it?" I demanded. My voice sounded smaller than it should have. He looked past me, toward the far end of the cemetery where the fog grew dense and unnatural, rolling against the gravestones like a living thing. Death isn't the monster, he said. Accounting is. He motioned for me to follow him. Against every instinct screaming at me to run, my feet obeyed. Each step felt delayed, like my body was catching up to a decision I hadn't made yet. We passed more stones. Some had candles burning backward, the flames bending downward into the wax. Others whispered, not words, just names, soft, repetitive, like a roll call. Then I noticed something new. Some graves now had dates, freshly carved. Daniel Okafor, born 1994/died 6:41 p.m. My phone vibrated in my pocket. The time on my screen read 6:42 p.m. He was alive an hour ago, I whispered. The old man didn't slow down. So were you, I stopped walking. No, I won't accept this. You said there was time. There is, he replied, turning to face me. But time is a debt here, and debts collect interest. He led me to a stone building at the center of the cemetery, a mausoleum I hadn't noticed before. It looked wrong, like it had been pasted into reality without blending in. The door was slightly open. Inside, the air smelled like wet paper and cold metal. Rows of shelves lined the walls, stacked with massive leather-bound books. Every cover had the same title, embossed in fading gold. Ledger of the Unfinished. The old man pulled one free. My name was on the spine. My hands started shaking. I never agreed to this. No one does, he said. You're born with a provisional date. Most people meet it on schedule. Some escape it. When that happens, he nodded toward the shelves. Paperwork. He opened the book. Pages flipped on their own, faster and faster, stopping on today's date. There were entries, times I'd nearly died, a car that ran a red light 3 years ago, food poisoning that should have shut my organs down, a night I fell asleep and didn't wake up for 12 minutes. I felt sick. These were accidents, I said. He corrected me gently. They were misses. A deep scratching sound echoed from beneath the floor. The old man stiffened. It's early. What's early? The lights flickered. A new sound joined the scratching. Pages tearing. Books began shaking on the shelves. Names glowed faintly through their covers. When someone becomes aware of their grave, he said, the system corrects itself. The mausoleum door slammed shut. From the far corner, something stood up from the shadows. It had no face, just a smooth, pale surface where features should be. Names crawled across its skin, appearing and fading like tattoos made of light. Birth dates, death dates, scheduled, rescheduled, overdue. That's the collector, the old man whispered. It finalizes records. The thing turned its blank face toward me. My name burned brighter than the others. I backed away. You said I had time. You do, he said, stepping between us, but not here. He grabbed my wrist. The floor gave out. We fell, not down, backward. I slammed into my bed, gasping for air. Morning light streamed through my window. Birds outside. Normal sounds. Normal world. I bolted upright. A dream. It had to be. My phone buzzed on my nightstand. Missed call. No caller ID. Missed call. No caller ID. Then a notification from my calendar. Event added automatically. Location. Hollow Grounds time. Today, 6:41 p.m. My door creaked open. The old man stood there, shovel resting on his shoulder. He smiled tiredly. You escaped the cemetery, he said. Not the appointment. He glanced at my clock. 6:39 p.m. Part 3, he added softly, is where most people don't come back from. 6:40 p.m. The clock on my wall ticked louder than it ever had, each second landing like a hammer. My room looked normal. Same peeling paint, same chair by the window. But something was off. The edges of everything shimmered slightly, like reality was being held together by weak glue. The old man stood by my door, solid and unreal at the same time. Why me? I asked. He rested the shovel against the wall. Because you noticed. That's it. You looked at the name, he said softly. Most people don't. My phone buzzed again. No caller ID, no caller ID, no caller ID. I didn't answer. What happens at 6:41? I asked. He glanced at the clock. Either you arrive or someone else does. My chest tightened. Someone else? The ledger requires balance, he said. A scheduled life must be completed, but awareness creates an exception. The room darkened. Shadows stretched toward the corners like they were being pulled away. You can't just take people, I said. That's not justice. He met my eyes. For the first time, he looked tired, old in a way that had nothing to do with age. I was you once, he said. The words landed harder than anything else. I stood where you're standing, same minute, same fear. He tapped the shovel. I chose not to go. And someone else? He nodded. The clock clicked. 6:41 p.m. The air dropped out of the room. Sound vanished. Even my breathing felt muted, like I was underwater. The floor rippled, not physically, temporally, like time itself had softened. The old man stepped aside. Decision's yours. My phone lit up one last time. A contact name appeared. Mum alive. Calling. I understood then. The ledger didn't choose randomly. It chose close. People tied to you. People whose absence would hurt just enough to teach you a lesson about survival. No, I whispered. Take me. The old man closed his eyes. That's not how exceptions work. I moved before fear could stop me. I grabbed the shovel. The moment my hands touched it, memories flooded in. Decades of graves, names,